We have heard a lot about how important it is to restrict our salt intake, but is it really helpful for the health of your heart? Maureen McGuire recently sat down with cardiologist Tim Malins. Here's this week's Your Heart and You.
Tonight we're talking about salt intake and the impact on your heart. People who are at high risk for health problems have been told for years to limit their salt intake, but a new study indicates that low sodium diets may not have any benefit. This sounds very controversial. And Dr. Tim Malins, I'm sure you're aware of this new study.
I am, and it is somewhat controversial. According to the study, and it was a study that looked at the sickest of the sick patients and comparing medium salt diets and with certain amount of diuretics to low salt diets, and they maybe had an indication that the low salt diets, the 1,500 milligram diet, was not the best for these type of patients. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the thing that stuck out for me, though, was the suggestion or the hint that a low-sodium diet may actually do more harm than good. Does that worry you at all?
No, it doesn't. And to be honest with you, the study itself, I don't think really applies to us. I still continue to recommend the AHA guidelines, which are 1,500 milligrams or less, and that's what they considered low salt.
1,500 milligrams is like a teaspoon and a half, right?
Yeah. It's hard to do. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But we've got to have a goal. Now, is everybody going to be able to reach this goal? No. But from the AHA, both at the national level and locally here, which I'm fairly active in, we want to have a good goal. And that, I believe, comparing all the other data, not just this study, is a good goal. Can everyone reach it? Yeah. Probably not. But it's a good goal to set.
So you're sticking with the guideline then, regardless of the study?
Yeah, I really think the study has little merit on the everyday population. And listen, how much salt do we really need to survive in a day? Probably about 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
So we're still getting excess salt, but the problem is it's so hard to avoid.
Yeah.
It's not just what we add in things. And you can't demonize the fast food restaurants because all restaurants add it because that's what we crave.
Yeah, it's in our vending machines, it's everywhere.
It's hard to avoid.
But always the goal is to reduce salt intake. All right.
It is.
Dr. Tim Malins, thank you very much.
Thank you.